premiere of Boxed, a series of digital commissions for dancers across the world aged between 20 and 39. This period of the lockdown has made dancers particularly vulnerable. They're feeling restless, a bit fearful, a bit paranoid, filled with anxiety. So what we did at Nartaki.com was reach out, and dancers responded. We gave them a few prompts. Pick a place in your home or the area of confinement, a prop, a location, and create 2 minutes of movement in that confined space. The first minute will be in their chosen training or classical style, and the second minute would be in a more contemporary mode. Now, these 2 minutes of continuous choreography would be captured by 2 phone cameras, either one after the other or simultaneously, and they will be edited professionally by our team of tech-savvy experts who also happen to be dancers themselves. In fact, this entire series, including our line producer, are all dancers and all young, between the ages I told you of 21 to 39. Music has been provided either by the dancers themselves or provided to them by our small pool of composers who have contributed original commissioned music. At the end of each edition, you will also listen to an expert who will share their comments on what they have just seen. So we hope that this unlocks the young generation of dancers to think differently and use their vocabulary in a myriad ways when we emerge into a new world order. I'm delighted to be the series ideator, concept, initiator, and catalyst, and thank everyone who has been so generous with their time, energy, and talent. So welcome to the premiere of Boxed.
For Boxed, I've chosen to work in my kitchen because this is where I feel like I'm really boxed in at this time. My open plan kitchen is also my studio space where I spend a good chunk of my time dancing, ideating, creating, choreographing, and simply just moving. I've also started indulging in my newfound interest in cooking, experimenting with cuisines, reinventing with whatever I have in the pantry, and all of that happens here. The music I've chosen resonates with my situation of really being boxed in a paradox. On one hand, there's this facade that's very active, positive, cheerful, mindful, a lot on the social media front. And for this, I've used the beatboxing track. And on the other hand, I'm overcome with waves of emotions that come from a place of turmoil, solitude, chaos and a lot of confusion. And there's this a lot of feeling of being churned from within because of the uncertainty. And for this, I have used an instrumental track of a very rare string instrument called nickel harpa.
The first thing that came to my mind when I heard the word boxed was the chair in my room. The image just popped up as I was glued to it for past 3 months because of the current situation. Being a dancer, it was very difficult for me to just sit on the chair throughout the day, weeks together, months together. After a point, there was a constant urge inside me to move away from it, but some way or the other, I was pulled to it, leaving no other choice. I felt as if all the doors in front of me were closed. The choreography is based on this situation and the mental stress that I went through. It was pretty much challenging for me to do a choreography like this, as I'm a person who would use a lot of space I would in the studio to develop something or to dance. It was a whole new perception to develop a choreography to this boxed space.
We are all boxed in our houses. I am confined in a 2 BHK apartment where hardly I can dance. I dance, I do movement wherever I can. So I'm understanding a new language of freedom with these challenges. I have chosen stairs because I felt that this was supposed to be the most busiest part of my house, but these days it remains absolutely empty. I felt, why not do some movement? Why not understand my body? Why not understand the space in this confined area?
When I was given the concept of boxed, my first thoughts were of the two boxes that I have sought refuge in during these times, the TV and smartphone. So I picked TV as the space, a representation of the digital world of the artificial eye. When I began moving in the limited space around it, I was afraid that I'd bump into furniture or worse, knock the camera off, because we're used to larger spaces. And I somehow have always associated energy and impact with using space or moving through space. So to be confined and have the camera so close and yet get the same effect was a constraint for me. But these constraints slowly became enablers as I began to see space differently, use space and movement vocabulary in a way perhaps I would not have done otherwise. This piece is a juxtaposition of the physical and the virtual. The virtual world is dynamic. It is moving at a startling rate. And I tried to reflect this in my choreography and music. This is my interpretation of Boxed.
Diginatum, diginatum, ginatum, natum, tum, dum dum da, dum dum da, dum dum da. Junu, junu, taka, kadi, timbita, tita, bitka, bita, ka, di, mita. Ta, titam, titam, ta titam, ta titam, titam, ta titam, tam, ta tikinatum, ta tikinatum, ta titang, ta tikataka titang, ta tikatakatam, ta tikataka ta tikataka ta tikataka ta.
Hello, greetings from London. I'm Chitra Sundaram. Thank you, Anita, Masoom, and Kirti. Divya, Adrika, Rohini, Rupa, and Wajan. I want to say heartiest congratulations and thank you very much for sharing your dance. Every presentation has offered something impressive, either in the dance or in the spoken reflection or both. And more than an expert, I've been a member of your audience. So what did I see? I saw that choreographies ranged from acknowledging the camera's presence as a voyeuristic, intrusive presence to using it as just an inanimate recording equipment. In dancing for camera, that's an important aesthetic decision. Again, since I am isolated, I was wondering if I might have loved a gesture of connection with me, like a glance back at the camera from the top of the steps. Perhaps. Most critically, I found that the actual space we operate out of is actually in our heads. And so, to take risks, we need to make room and move as far away as possible from our entrenched aesthetic modes and codes and our preconditioned responses so that we're not saying, doing, being the same, and only the external props of music and location and costume and what have you change, so that an unusual place just doesn't become another surface on which to dance the same dance or to imagine a proscenium auditorium. For some, I found that music was integral to the dance, and for others, it was just an accompaniment or an enhancement. Silence and ambient sound can also be very powerful, but only if it speaks to the dancer as well. For some, props were like true dancing partners. To others, they were there to make a point, like titles. The chair, for example, could have come alive and not let the dancer go. Short work or long, there needs to be a narrative arc and an emotional charge. And then Wajan broke house rules and he gave us an unspoken reflection. But he generated drama and humor, and that was a high point on which to end this episode of Boxed. Thank you.